Hi guys, I'm David with Media Unlocked, and today we're going to be talking about this awesome little FEELWORLD 5.5 inch 4K f5 Pro monitor, y'all. Anyways, so Jonathan right here decided to come in and help me out because he actually is the one that's been using this monitor for the last 30 days. He's been helping me out with a new brand that I'm getting off the ground. It's a fitness-based brand called Transparency Fitness, and he's been coming out and just shooting. And so we ordered this monitor, and I literally gave him the monitor without opening it up. I literally just, as soon as it came in the mail, I gave it to him because he said he needed a monitor for shooting. And so, I mean, really, you've spent the last month using it. I have hardly ever used it. I do already have a FEELWORLD monitor, so I kind of know how they work and the function. I really, really like them. One of the really cool things, before I let Jonathan just dive in on what comes in the box and his thoughts and like what really works and doesn't work on the monitor, is I have these Hollyland wireless transmitters and receivers. Now, we use these quite a few times. They're really, really awesome. They're great for, as I said, wireless transmitting and receiving and hooking them up with this. So this becomes a wireless monitor, which is fantastic. A 4K wireless monitor, which we absolutely love. We mostly shot with this monitor on the Sony a7 III and a7R III. We really, really like the wireless transmitting aspect with this monitor. It was great because Jonathan, starting out, you've really never done much fitness shooting in your past. You've done videography, but you've never done fitness. So, and I, of course, was the main subject in the video. So we had one of the other guys like Dan using the wireless monitor to talk to Jonathan to let him know the angles, because Jonathan knows how to shoot. He just doesn't know how to shoot the male physique or the female physique in the gym and the angles that are needed, right? So that's where the wireless transmission of the monitor really came in, and we were very happy with it. So what all comes in the box?
So what's included in the box is a sunshade, your tilt arm, a disassemble key. Okay. You have your HDMI, and then of course you have the monitor itself.
Now we did have to purchase a secondary cable here for the Canon 6D, where it was, I think it's mini HDMI, not micro or macro HDMI, but mini HDMI to HDMI. It just comes with a macro HDMI to HDMI, which is great because it works with the Sonys perfectly. And again, 4K versus 1080p, so we're getting full resolution with the monitor on the Sony cameras, where we weren't getting that with the 6D. 6D is older though, so if you have an older camera, it will work with those Canon older cameras.
One thing I like about the accessories is with the tilt arm, there's actually a section where you can add a mic. Or
it's cold shoe.
Cold shoe. So you can add a mic, you can add light setup, and it's also got it's got a screws button there too. So it's not just, not just for, you can do all sorts of setups with that, which is fantastic.
Right.
Obviously the sunshade, which is really nice because it's got these two little clips that just clip into the monitor at the top.
Right. Yeah, you've got these little clip pieces, and it just clips right in for the sunshade. Now, and we'll kind of, before we dive into all the stuff we did love about it, you were a little disappointed on how bright the monitor got with the sunshade outside when we were shooting that, some of the Frisbee disc golf footage that we were getting.
Yes.
So that kind of let Jonathan down a little bit. So that is kind of a deterrent a little bit, is that you wish the monitor itself was a little bit brighter.
I wish so. But I think overall it still did its job.
Right.
I could still see for the most part, so it wasn't like blinding where I couldn't just see anything at all.
Right, it was just so dim that you couldn't see anything. And it was a very bright day that we were out shooting. Right. So let's go over some of the buttons on the monitor, some of the options that you have here. Again, it's touchscreen, which is fantastic. Like I said, I already use a FEELWORLD. I have I don't remember the exact model, but it's like 2 models up from this one, and I really, really, really like it.
So what I really like about this, before I dive into the buttons, is there are actually 4 different spots on your monitor that have the screw placements.
Yeah.
You can do a whole variety of things, which is really, really cool. So the mount actually mounts on the side, but then that leaves a spot in the back, top and bottom,
to connect other accessories like lights, really cool. Mics, stuff like that.
It was really, really neat. You've got an input and an output HDMI spot, which is really, really nice. And then what I really like is it has a quick release for your battery. So instead of having to, it ensures that your battery is there, like it'll stay in place.
And it's connected.
Yeah, and it won't fall out.
Right.
So I'd like to dive into the buttons. So you've got an F1 and F2, which is really, really cool because those are essentially hot buttons. And with the hot buttons, you can program that in your settings to where it'll shoot with you can press those buttons and it'll change from histogram, color.
So you can pre-set up what you want those buttons to do so that you can instantly just get that information.
Yes, it's really cool that you can pre-program those and you can just make it immediate, like hit F1, F2.
Right.
And what I really like about the next two buttons on here, you've got a left and a right. You can program those to either control your brightness or your volume. You've got your menu button, but what's really cool about the F5 Pro, you can double tap.
And you get your menu system.
You have your menu button up here, and then you have two buttons which will actually go for up or down. It's if you don't want to use your fingers. And then you also have an audio jack for headphones. And
we have a USB-C at the bottom, and you do have a DC. Now, it does not come with a external plug for the wall, right?
No,
that has to be purchased separately.
Yes.
But you can power the monitor that way. But you do have the DC in 5 volt, which I'm guessing means that it will allow it to power the monitor if you have the right power coming in. But I believe it also is good because it allows for firmware updates through that, if I'm not correct. So you can actually do firmware updates. Now you have a HDMI in and out, which is fantastic. And then you got histograms, you got false color, you got RGB. Aspect ratios, do you like the aspect?
I love the aspect ratios because I don't, again, as a person, personally, I don't use aspect ratios.
Right.
And they don't really have settings on the 6D. So getting to use the aspect ratios helped me focus on my subjects more, which is really nice because I don't really do that when I do shooting.
Right.
Because I play by eye. And then it also helps with the aspect ratio when you're cutting. So because sometimes your video is going to get cropped when you're in editing. And it's going to, take away certain spots, so instead of having super duper wide, it's going to have it a little bit more narrow.
Okay.
So you're able to focus more on that, and then from there go with your subject, which is really, really cool. And then it's also got the grid, which again, something I don't use on my camera.
I use the grid system all the time when I'm shooting weddings because I need to make sure that people fit within a certain frame. So that, again, kind of going back to aspect ratio. So then, therefore, when I edit, I can throw in some crop marks and make it look really pretty. Have that 16:9 beautiful, like wide angle shot.
With the top of your screen, you're going to have your histogram to your false colors, which is really nice. So, and you've got a whole bunch of stuff that you can program. Your next button down is going to be your 9 grid. So it's pretty much all your grid. It's the grid section.
Okay.
The next spot down is going to be all your aspect ratios. You're going to have the RGB is all your colors, and so that's with false colors, and then there's
it also has focus peaking on it, right?
It does.
And focus peaking is fantastic because you can change your colors from red to yellow to white, I believe, on this one. And with the focus peaking, it really helps you make sure that things are in focus. So let's say you forgot your glasses, you're kind of blind, but with the focus peaking, it shows these little dots and waves, so you can actually see what is in focus specifically, and you can change it. So I'm sure focus peaking for the Canon 60 is really nice in the aspect because you don't have autofocus with the Canon 60.
Yes, it's very, very nice. And then you're going to have your settings here, your basic settings, and up at the top is where you're going to be able to control your volume and brightness. And then there's, it's got all your other things about like language and a whole lot of the basic stuff. And at the bottom it has F, and F is going to be where you can program your F1 and F2 for pretty much programs everything else into your hot buttons.
Okay. And then what is the price point on this bad boy?
It's going to be $140, which in my opinion is honestly, it's a really, really good price for a monitor, especially that it's 4K.
And it's touchscreen.
It is. So I'm honestly, I've got to give this like a 5 out of 5. Other than some slight, issues.
Right. You didn't like how bright the monitor got. You thought it could have got brighter. What other issues did you have with it?
So the only other issue I really had was with the tilt arm, and I think it really comes down to your battery size, and it's with the weight where you're.
And we got the big batteries.
Yeah.
And it does take the Sony NP-F70, 970 or 940. It's a very common battery. Actually, I've got one on here, but these things secure so well on these But what is it? The MP 960 and 970 batteries, which is a very common battery for a lot of different things. So I always keep probably 10 or 15 of them at the house because I have so many things that take them.
Other than that, I think it's great for beginners, and it's very, very easy to use, which was fantastic because...
Yeah, you really picked it up and ran with it. This is your first really monitor that you've ever used. So this is the first time John actually got to really play around with a monitor as a videographer, and he's really ever, it's the first time he ever really needed one for a project.
Correct.
So at $140, it seems like a great price. As always, guys, there will be a link down below, and then there'll be a link at the end of the video. If you guys do use that link to purchase the device, it does give us a little commission, keeps this channel going so we can keep making these awesome videos for you guys.
Let's go.
I mean, do you got anything else you want to say to the guys out there, to the peoples, to the Media Unlocked followers out there that want to know about monitors?
Support David. Support David. Get this monitor.
That's a great
Fantastic.
message. Fantastic
I love
message,
it.
I think.
Love it.
Anyways, guys, as always, I'll catch you next time.